Welcome back, everybody. Pull up a chair, get a little drink, and join me in this paint along drawing of these cute little owls. So this is what we're doing today. And I'm going to show you how easy it is. It's not that difficult to draw these cute little owls. So we'll start off by drawing them in pencil first. So if you're a beginner, just learning, get your pencil. It can be one of these. I like using these mechanical pencils. You don't have to sharpen them. They're usually a 2B or an HB sometimes. Hey, Riri, Joan, good to see you. If you're a member on Patreon or on YouTube, I do have this available for you to download and print. So you can check that out. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, I have some links down below in the description of this video. So I just got to spray this. It's a little bit late. I just like to spray my paints to get them a little bit wet so they're easier to reconstitute. So we'll just put that to the side for now. And this is a little owl. Now, I've already made the drawing for download if you don't want to draw yours. So feel free to check that out. In just a minute. I just want to make sure. Okay. Hey, Mina. Tina. Good to see you all. So now you can go with this color if you want, or you can change it up and make it whatever, like a snowy owl, more black and white, or barn owl, whatever. So if you were here last week, we did this here. This was the pansy and the bumblebee in watercolor. The bumblebee's done in a little bit of ink and watercolor. And these are just ones that I've been playing with, doing a few sketches with my pen. And these are some cones that I found in my yard, so I decided to sketch them. So I thought we could draw the little owl on this side here. So are you all having a nice spring day? We aren't here. We're back to winter. It's snowing like crazy right here. And it's up and down, up and down. That's April for you, though. So, owls. I know a lot of people, when they're, here's a bigger one, when you're looking at them, the way I draw pretty well anything is I look at shapes. So I try to look at the biggest to start with, then you work your way down to the smaller shapes. So the biggest shapes that we're going to look at is the body, and the head is pretty well the biggest shapes that we have. Or you could do an total shape right here. This is kind of like an oblong shape if you want, but I like doing two. You can overlap it a little bit too. So that's what we're going to do first. And make sure you leave enough room for the little toes and stuff like that. So the bottom part of his body is the biggest shape. So I'm going to start from about here, his beak, and work around. It's kind of It's not quite a circle. It's a little more on the oval, uh, vertical side or horizontal side. So let's put a little like that. And then the top of his head, as you see, the eyes are a little bit, his head is tilted us just slightly. So you can adjust that too. So let's say the top of his head is over here. So he'll have a kind of a oblong shape like that. I think I'm going to make this a little bit bigger on this side. He's a little bit fuzzy. See, I don't worry about, let me bring the lighting down just a smidge so you can see my lines a little better. Wrong way. There we go. Okay. And you can just take your eraser. There's a white eraser on the ends of these. Just erase those when you think it's the right shape you want. So I can erase that line that I crossed over. Okay. Now, he does have a center. A lot of birds have this, I guess it's their rib cage is right here. And usually it's noticeable in how the feathers fall. So it's almost like two ovals crossing each other like that. Hey, Devin. Dorothy, good to see you. And then he has these cute little tiny wings. So I'm gonna overlap mine a little bit, but notice where they're sitting. So they're kind of sitting on the shoulder a little bit, and then they kind of fluff up, but, and then they kind of go down like this. They're not very big. Same with this one here. Kind of stick out with little bits of feather, and then it's kind of like a teardrop. That's what I'm seeing. So again, a shape. And then you can erase that circle line. You can always go back later if you find something's not quite looking right. And then the little toes, so he's sitting on a branch. So the branch can be here. And he has these little toes, so 3 little toes, so kind of like little tubes like this. And then the other one, we'll make this one a little bit down lower. We'll just fuzz that out a bit with some fur or feathers. Kind of like little sausages, actually. You're making sausages here. And then a little small toe there. So then we can either take that out. Fur would be on top there. You wouldn't see the total shape of his fuzzy little toes over there. And then he has little nails coming out just on the very end. So a little half circle, and then I just make the nail down. So a little point. You can make yours as long as short as you want. This is a baby owl, so he probably won't have too big of a nail yet. That. And then usually they have these wrinkles on their toes. So we can put some lines in there like that. There's usually a little bit of a thickness around that nail that you'll see. So you can put that in. That. Those are his nails. Very easy. Shapes again. That's what you're concentrating on. Now, his eyes take up a good portion of his face. Like this, I'm looking at this right here. Let's put his little beak in. So his beak is almost to the bottom here. So again, it's covered, and I'm looking at the shape. So it kind of dips in and then comes out to a point and then comes up like that. Kind of looks funny. And then I'm looking at his eyes. The bottom of his eye is actually, because his eye is slanted, actually I should slant his beak a little bit because his head is tilted. So let's tilt his beak. No, that doesn't. Let's see. His beak will go like that, I think. So that's the line. Then we'll put this down here. And then it kind of goes like this. And then his bottom of his eye kind of lines up with about here. And I guess it would be like that. Right about there. And you can use, if you have a circle, what do they call it? Like a stencil. You can buy those different size circles. You could use that if you want to. Have actually a little bit. He has very big eyes. I think. And there's a little bit more yellow on the bottom showing than on the top. Try to get the whole. That's about right. Maybe that one's a little bit smaller. Do your best. Might have to make this one a little bigger. Looks about right. And then he has all this fuzz. And you have to pay attention to how it's laying for it to look right. So this is kind of the corner of his eye there. And it always, the fuzz sprays over his beak a little bit. And then we have, look at your reference photo. And it comes down like this. And we'll be painting most of this in. And then it just shorter around here. It comes up, kind of like an eyebrow. And the same over here. But again, I'm looking at how the feathers are laying. So a little bit of a eyebrow right there. They're not real, well, no, I don't think they're eyebrows, but they look it. Maybe a little bit there. And then around that area, it starts getting bigger. This is, I might have to make his head a little bigger. That's when the fur, or the feathers, I keep calling it fur, spray outwards. So I'm just going to mark some suggestive lines there because a lot of this will be painted in. And let's see, do I have to make that a little bigger maybe? And this one here, the same thing, so it'll come out. Just showing where those fuzzies are. If you want, you could draw in a circle if you find that would be easier. That. And I think I'm going to make his beak a little bit longer. Like that. Maybe a little pointed. And then on the bottom, he has these little feathers that are kind of facing you on the side. So that's why you're seeing all these little highlights and shadows. Because they're not flat. They're kind of pointing towards you. That's because of his little neck. It's kind of ruffled. So let's make this, he has more fur or feathers coming out like this. And then it goes in like that. So I can erase this here now. It's part of his head. And it's fuzzy. Again, it's going a certain way. So make sure you get the right way it's going. This guy's really fuzzy. And it comes down. And then there's, again, this little bit of feathers that are on its side. Facing you because of the way he's got his neck. Okay, Devin, have a good day. Like that. Now, this area I'm going to do in paint. So we can put in some suggestions on how the feathers are running. So in the center here, they kind of point towards each other in a V shape almost. And then as it comes around his body, the feathers turn. So I'm just going to put a few marks in showing how they're set on his body, so it's a little easier to keep track. So along the edge here, they're going this way. As you get into the center of this part, they kind of turn, and then they go over his feet too. Okay. And then he has these cute little feathers. So he does have, see the separations in the feather of the wing. So you can put some of those in so they're going this way. And then there's a few that go this way on the top. So just mark that in. I'm not really looking at the real definite form. I'm going to do that more with the watercolor. But I just want indication of how it's going. Okay, so let's fix up. Let's see if I have an eraser here. A little sharper one. I like those erasers that are in the pen form. I don't know if I have any down. Oh, there's one. Let me sharpen it. This is a Faber-Castell. And then you can just go in if you want to keep things a little more precise. Like in here. Let's see. This is just on sketchbook paper that I'm doing this. So nothing special. Let's see. You can fix up any lines that you need to. Just have fun with it. I'm going to make this a little bit clearer. That. I think that eye's bigger. It's kind of got a wonky eye. Okay, that's the dark. And the yellow and the black. It's a little bigger on the bottom than the top. I think that looks about right. Hey, Darlene, good to see you. Yeah, he's a cute one. I'm going to put in the highlight too. So they're kind of like a teardrop again. It's and a jelly bean. Again, it's the shapes. Look at the shapes. It's easier that way. Your brain doesn't have to suggest something to you because your brain has a generic idea what everything is. So sometimes it's a little bit off. Okay, let's take this line out because it's mostly fuzzy in here for where the paint will go. So I don't want that line because it will show through the paint. All right, that looks pretty good. And this guy has the fuzzies, little, that fuzz comes down in here. Kind of stops about there. Like that. It's a nice fuzzy guy. And then there is, let's see, there's a bit of a shadow in here. You can put that in if you want. So this would be shadowed. Fairly dark in there. Okay. And then his little head, top of his head like that. And there's the little bird. Hey, Chris. Okay, so as you can see, mostly shapes that I've been looking at to get the bird drawn. So that is probably one of my top suggestions when drawing. Look at shapes when you're drawing. Your biggest to your smallest. So start off with your biggest shape and then go to your smallest shapes. That way it's a whole lot easier. Okay. Any questions? I think that's pretty good for you to see. I'll take it over a little bit there. All right, so I'm going to get out my paintbrushes here. Let's see, I've got a golden natural blend, and this one's it's by the same makers as Silver Black Velvet. It's their other series they have. They're just, I would say they're a little bit stiffer, not as quite as soft. So those are good for details, that type of thing. And then this is the number 8 Silver Black Velvet. It's softer. Now I am working on plain sketchbook paper, so this is not going to be multiple layers. So I don't want my paper to pill. And I'm going to clean this off so I have a clean palette. So how's the weather in everyone's part of the world? Has spring arrived or is it confused? It's confused here right at the moment. We're getting snow today. So in watercolor, you want to start from light to dark. So we're going to do a lot. I'm going to stick to this color palette. So kind of the raw sienna, burnt umber type of colors, a little bit of yellow ochre maybe, and dark brown. Confused here, cold. Yeah, it's so disappointing, so disheartening. You know, you're they little bit of teasing going on with nice warm. We had like 27 degrees for a week, and then today 2. Like crazy, crazy. So I'm gonna do a little bit of I think raw sienna. So Daniel Smith raw sienna, and I want it to be a watered down consistency, very light. And I'm just going to put, there's a lot of that in this head here. So I'm going to throw that in here. I'm going to just tap. And if I leave some areas without, that's fine. And then there's a little bit in here by his, just around the edge of his eye. There's a little bit of this color here. There is kind of a very off-white, so I'm going to leave that as my paper color, because that's about the right consistency. Now you could use gouache. If you cover up some areas, don't get worried. You can always use some gouache on this. And he's got this little bits of fuzz, fur, or not fur, gosh, feathers coming out the top here and the sides. Just gonna, you can take a smaller brush too. Let's use this other one if you want a finer line. Gives it a little more interest. And you got a different line width, more fuzzy. I like fuzzy birds. Let's see, and along there, inside the eye here, just on the inside, right in here. Sweep it out like that. And some in here by his beak, kind of his chin area, I guess. It goes into down here. Like that. Now there's quite a bit of this color actually, so I'm going to make some more up here. Get some more water. So I want it fairly light, not too dark. And I want to leave some areas in the body that cream color of my page. So now I'm looking at the direction of the feathers. So wherever I've put those marks, I'm going to use that to show me which way to put these feathers. They kind of connect too, like it's do some in there. And if you get too much in one area, you can always use the gouache. Or if you're using watercolor, you can always wipe it off before it dries with a damp brush. A little bit in there. It's a little lighter there. Some in there that kind of comes down a bit more. Like that. And he does have some in here, but the shadow's there, and we'll put a little bit of a different color in there to give it a shadow effect, a bit darker. Hey, Janet! Oh, where did I put them? Yep. I have to wear those socks today, Janet. So I was going to show them. Look what Janet made me, socks. I love them. And they fit fantastic. They're so warm. Because I'm in a basement studio, so it's always cool down here. I love these. Thank you so much. I just love them. I'm wearing them. I'm like my son, 2 different ones on each foot. I'm in style. It's what the kids do nowadays. They don't have their socks matching. I know. I am just amazed at knitters that do socks and, well, anything with really thin wool or yarn. I guess I just don't have the patience for that. Like Lena too. Knitted that beautiful long jacket. Like, you guys are incredible. Like, it just blows me away. Okay, so now I want to do a really dark. So see in here around his little, well, even around the edge of that. It's dark in here and under his wing, bits of his wing there. So I want to do a really nice dark brown. So I'm going to put, I have some burnt sienna here. Actually, I could do burnt umber too. Well, let's try the burnt sienna. And some indigo with that. And it'll get a nice dark color. And I'll just keep it a little bit on the brown side though, but it's still nice and dark. So then I can do now that's still wet there. Well, let's do a little bit here. So I know there's quite a bit of dark under the wing. So we'll do the dark under here. Little shadow under his wing. want it fairly dark, so I'm going to put quite a bit on there. And then right in here, it's dark. And I'm going to just sweep up into the body in the direction of the feathers are going this way and that way, like a V. Now I'm using the smaller one. Get a smaller mark with the smaller brush. And then a little bit on the, just along the bottom, it'd be darker, where his feet are. And just want it fairly dark, as it is dark there. I'm going to put a little bit more pigment on, so it's a little bit darker. Right in here. It's fairly dark right there. Like that. Doing much better than, okay. Can always stop the video, Mina. And then a real dark in here by his little beak. I was still wet, that's why it ran up. But actually, I kind of like that. It is dark in here. And I'm going to try and leave a little bit. And then it goes sideways. So put some lines sideways. Because remember, those will be the shadow of the feathers that are laying on top of each other. They're laying flat, basically, because of the way his head is. And then a little bit on the bottom here, a little thicker. Goes over to here. And then I'm just going to wet my brush and I'm just going to sweep it down. I'm going to have to put a little bit of she does have a little bit of a ring right there. It goes over to here. That. And then there's kind of like little, around the white part here, there's a little bit of this color. So I'm just going to lightly put a small edge just by streaking it, leaving some white, going in the same direction as the feathers. And same one, same here. So just around that white area. So cute. I love owls. I think they're so sweet. They're great hunters. We have a few around here. Kind of keep my bunny and squirrel population in check. Bit right there, a little bit there. Just take a look at your reference. A little more water on my brush. Let's use the wetter one here. It's a little darker on this side. We can use color pencils later, or marker, or all kinds of stuff. And it's a little darker. I think I'm going to put a little bit of blue with that. It's almost got a blue tinge to it, the shadow, right in here. So I mixed a little bit of Payne's Gray to that mix. And I'm still thinking about how the feathers are laying. So it's got a little bit more shadow in here. The darkest part is the brown. I want to leave some of this white, but not a lot. But some of it. It's lighter in this area here. A little bit darker in here by the wing. This side. And we'll go back in with pen maybe, just to darken things up a little bit, or sometimes I like to use pen just to define areas a little bit. Like that. I'm still leaving some of that white. Okay. And then a little bit around the eye there, it's a little darker. Right in there. Same with here. I'm still thinking of how the feathers are going. A little bit, very, very light color of gray on the edge here. Just very lightly. Like that. Now let's do his wings. So I'm going to use a little bit of that raw sienna again. Light, very light, so lots of water. And just going to put a coat on his wing. And then I'm going to come back in with the darker brown to define the other colors. So I'm going to let that dry for now. And let's do his feet. So his feet are kind of bluey purple. So a Payne's gray, maybe a little bit of red in it. There, just a bit to purple it up a bit. So more on the grayish side of purple. And we'll just put his little feet in that very light color though. It's not that dark. Actually, his nails can be that color too. And we'll come in with pen and define them up a little bit more. Ink. Okay. And we can use that same purple for the outer rim of his eye. So he does have a dark color, but because there's a bit of a shadow and a highlight on it, it kind of appears as gray, but then outlined in black. I'm going to put a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to use my other brush. These are a little more defined, so a smaller brush would work better. And we'll go back in with pen. You could probably do the highlight this color also. Like that. And his beak is going to be yellow, watered down. Like that. And I'm going to take a little bit of it off on the top here. Probably have to go in with some white, but that's fine. And then a little bit of, I guess you could do umber or Indian yellow. It's almost a orangey color. Just on the bottom, brighten it up a little bit. Loving what Kathy does. Why not join her YouTube membership? Just hit the button. Oh, thanks, Tori. That was sweet of you. Yeah, there's a whole lot of more traceables and videos that aren't on YouTube. Tutorials. Highest level has Happy Mail every month. And you get to all the levels information. Thanks, Darlene. Okay, the eyes are kind of soft yellow in this one. You could just keep it like that, or you could brighten it up. It's up to you what you like. I'm just going to use this yellow I have. Now you may not think it looks quite as accurate as the picture. It's a reference. I like to make my own renditions. This is just a reference. Okay, let's make some more of that umber color. So that was raw sienna or umber, whatever you have, and either Payne's gray or indigo will do. A dark, dark blue, because we want it fairly dark, this color. Nice dark brown. And a little bit of water. Okay. So now I'm going to make the little leaves, the little bits of colors that are in this wing. You're seeing a little bit of shadow and of the the color of the feather. Like so. And we'll make some little fuzzies out there. And this one here. It's a little bit of, again, shadow and color. So what I'm doing is kind of going underneath some of these marks that I made with the pencil as the shadow, and then you can also add a little bit of color for the feather too. It's very similar. These are just very whimsical. Don't get too caught up in it. If you want to do real detailed, then, take a lot longer to do. Take your time with it. But I just like doing these whimsical ones. I like stress-free. I don't like to stress too much about having fun painting. If I want to just paint and have some fun, it's not necessarily to hang up on a wall. Just to have fun and relax, paint. Do your thing. Do it the way you want to do it. This is what I like. I'm going to put some more fuzzies in here. Because they're cute. And Probably would have fuzz on him. He's a little baby owl, so why not? Put a little bit of dark in there too, just to darken that up a little bit on the side, like that. And then a little bit in here from that dark part. Just bring a few marks into that to give it more than just one color that's coming up from there. Gives a little more dimension that way. Even if it's the same color you used, it'll still darken the area because you're adding on top. That. Now he does have, let's see, I'll dry that area up a little bit. I want to put a few marks on the top of his head too. What kind of paint? I have a combination of Daniel Smith, Da Vinci, Winsor Newton, and Core. I don't necessarily stick to just one brand. If I find a color I like, I get it. Well, you have talents of your own, Janet. Everybody has their own special abilities. I have tried knitting, but it's just not my thing. Man, everybody's different, right? I just don't have the patience for it. And I admire people that do, because boy, would I love to be able to. Some people can knit up a storm like, holy geez, it'd take me years. So he does have shadow on his feet here. So both sides, and probably on the just under him too, because that would be covered with his feathers. So you want to put a little bit of that and around the nail. So I'm just going to put some of that on. I'm using the same color as I did with the feathers here. It's very loose watercolor. It's not necessarily a very accurate, but it's fun. And it makes me happy. And that's what counts. That. And then probably the stick, I think I'm going to go maybe, I want it different than his feet. I guess I could go with sienna color and mix a little bit of blue with it. I'm just going around his little feet. Marking that in. That'd be dark, fairly dark in this area here. It's right underneath him, between his legs. So probably be dark in there. We'll put some line work in there. Like that. I like sketching watercolor, acrylic, and mixed media. Loom knitting, but so do admire those who do it with needles. I'm all fingers. Yeah, see, everybody's different, right? And that's what's great. You don't have to be an expert at everything either. Like, you know, um, sometimes I think we get discouraged because we think we have to master everything. We have to draw or paint or knit, crochet like a pro, but you don't. If it's something you want to do to relax, then, you know, just enjoy it. That's the main thing. It is for me anyways. Maybe you're different, but I love doing this because it's relaxing to me. Um, and it's beneficial for anxiety. Um, if you suffer from anxiety or panic attacks, that type of thing, this is a great journaling is so great. It's a little dark in here. And then I'm taking that, there's a little bit of darkness going around here a little bit more. And then there's some spots on his head. They're kind of patchy, I guess you could say. It's a little bit darker down in here. And I love teaching people. I love to share what I know, get people inspired. I think it's very important to be creative in some way. It doesn't have to be art, it could be cooking, sewing, gardening, playing music, singing, but not, you know, if you want to get um, proficient or do something that's maybe you want a little bit of a income, you have to practice. That comes with everything you do. Doesn't matter what it is. You don't practice, it, it's harder to do. Anxiety is what I suffer from, having to keep myself doing art to relax. Yeah, yeah, a lot of us do suffer from it. It's a strange, strange ailment. I don't know what you call it. Guess it's a thing of its own, eh? A lot of us have it, but don't realize it. Some suffer more than others. It's strange. Just putting a little bit more detail in this area here. Just a bit more. Kind of got washed out there. That's a nice thing about watercolors. You can go back and add more if you want. A bit more in the darker in here where the wing would be shading it a little bit more. There. Okay, let's do the eyes. Okay, so they have to be black, right? So let's make a black. So I'm taking some indigo blue here, or Payne's gray will also work. And I have some burnt umber. You mix those two together and you get a very, very dark, almost black. And we'll paint around these spots of reflection or whatever, highlight. Oh, if you want to, you could paint over it and then just use a Posca pen or gouache and fix it. I'll probably have to fix that a little bit. My hand is a little bit shaky today. I love doing eyes. Like that. It's not too bad. A little wonky, but not bad. I think I need a little bit of this dark, though, on his feet. Right in here. Should be darker. Now I could probably go in with marker, or not marker, pen, and fix that too. It would be fairly dark in there. Dark in there. His body would be casting a shadow, probably. Same with here. A little darker. that. Cute. Okay. I can see that around the eye could be a little darker. Just want to make sure that area is dry so it doesn't spread too much. So just on the very edge of that mark, I might have to go in with a pen. Yeah, let's make that a little bit dabby there. A little bit more spread out. A little dimension to the eye. That's better. It's kind of a, you paint and then you see if it's needs anything and then you just keep adding. This is why I like doing it in these books. It does have a little bit of darker fur or feathers. I'm going to put some over top of his beak here of this color. Like that. All right, he's cute. So let's dry that and then we'll get out our pen. Take care, Darlene. Thanks for popping in. All right. Just put that aside for a moment. And let's see. I'm not sure if I want to use sepia. That's too red, I think. I think I want a black this time around. It's a 5. That one might work. I have a graph ink. And and that's a 5. I like 3s. 5s can work, but I prefer smaller for some reason. Is there, well, I guess that 5 will work. Let's see what this. Some sepias are different color. Well, that's actually a good one, but too thick, I think. I want something smaller, so we're going to use this. This is 005. Although I do need a black for around. Well, we'll see how dark this goes. I'm going to go around the eyes. So there's a definite dark area around the, I guess it's the eyelid. So a little bit really dark in here, I get actually. It's almost black. Is that going? Well, I guess I don't have anything on that side. This is actually really good sketchbook paper. I'm not sure what the name is. I've had it for a couple of years. Got it on Amazon. It came in packs of 3. I think it was like, it was ridiculously cheap. I thought, what the heck? If it's not that great paper, I'll just draw on it. But it turned out to be pretty good paper. I have to turn it. That, and it's actually pretty dark up there. Just follow the line work. Like that. Yeah, not bad. I'm gonna just put a little bit around his beak, darken some of that area up. A little bit there. A little thicker line there, I think. And following the feathers direction, just put some marks on there, right in here over his beak. They kind of crisscross a little bit like that. And then I think I'm going to just scribble along this top part where that dark ring is, around the light part of that eye, just to give it a little more definition. Trying to stay a little bit with the shapes of the direction. Bring a little bit of that strokes inward, just so that it looks like it's going into the eye there. Just gives a little more detail. Same with here. Just on the outer edge first. And kind of squiggling, actually. It's not single strokes. It's kind of scribbling, I guess you could say. Just to darken that area. And then stroke into it here and there. Not a lot, but some. Just to show the strokes, the definition. It's a bit darker on the inside though, right in here, like that. And maybe a few strokes going out into that sienna color from the dark area. Just gives it a little bit more detail. Right in here. Need some. Gets a little darker in there. Still dark. I like it as dark as possible in there, so I'm just kind of scribbling, actually. Now these, right in here where those overlaps are, I'm going to arch mine a little bit. So it's not a straight line. It's got a little bit of an arch. It's kind of like I don't know, if you see scales on top of each other. They've got a little bit of a rounded edge to them, but not quite flat. You're kind of laying them like you would a scale. So in between, you could have some that join, but just a little bit. Don't cover up all the white though, because you still want some of that to show. But there is definitely, and there's a bit as you get down further, there's a little bit of thicker shadow marks, but they're still underneath the fur of this part, but it's going a different direction. This is kind of like where the head meets the body. So I'll scribble there. Make it uneven too, because it wouldn't be even. This is where the darkest areas are. is around his neck. It looks cute. I like doing scribbles on watercolor like this. I'll show you a few after I'm done this part. I don't know, it looks cute. And you can do little clumps. You could follow some of the darker areas and just do a little bit of scribbles in those areas, just to show the clumping of the feathers. Yeah, you still have to keep in mind the direction of that they're laying, though. So you don't want them all over the place. In not caring how they're laying, because it would look wonky, wouldn't look right. So still keep in mind those areas. I'm not sticking exactly to the shapes, but the angle is sticking with those directional feathers. If you know what I mean. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know. I'll try to explain it. Just gives it a little bit more character. I like it. I think it's cool. You could just leave it with the watercolor. You don't have to put the pen work on. I like the pen work. So that's up to you how you want to finish it. Cool. You can make some areas darker too if you want to put a little bit more, like he does have some darker areas there. If you want to do that, you could scribble more with the pen. And under his arm here could be darker. Could use a ballpoint pen if you're not going to put any more watercolor on also. You don't have to get special waterproof. Depends on how you paint. Um, I kind of go back and forth, so that's why I use these types of pens. But everybody's different. Let's see. Put some darker lines in here for the separations of the feathers. Thanks, Joan. It's amazing. I love pen work. It's amazing what a little bit of scribbles, basically, what it can do. It's fun. It's relaxing. You got to try it. Just do it in your sketchbook. It's just paper. If it doesn't work out, oh well. You've learned something. You've tried something you weren't sure of how to do, and now you know different things. Maybe you didn't like a certain way you put the pen down. Maybe you've decided you don't like pen, or maybe you want more pen. The more you do, the more confident you get in your drawing abilities, on your painting abilities, but you gotta do it first in order to succeed. And I find a lot of people forget that. Um, they understand it and that practice has to be done in, like, say, music. Like, I don't know anyone that expects to pick up a guitar and instantly know how to play a song. So why is it any different as far as drawing? Let's do his feet. So you'll have little shadows where his nails start to come out. They're usually inset a little bit and a little bit of a round uh, puffiness to the top where the nail starts to come out. Put that in. A little bit of shadow. That. So just play with your drawings. Don't get a real expensive journal when you're first starting to. Well, I don't have any real expensive journals, to tell you the truth. Um, it eases the pressure of having to do something fantastic. When you are working with paper that it's okay to experiment in, then you're freer to do things and try things. That's what I found, anyways. Even when I went to art school, we used the cheapest sketchbooks we could find. And it was all about uh, just getting some work in there. It wasn't about how to do a fantastic page, it was about drawing. It didn't have to be a work of art, like, frame worthy or anything. Just had to get the practice in. We had to do one of those every month, a sketchbook a month. Funny thing is I can't paint, but my drawings are scruffy, as a tutor once told me. Well, I like Scruffy Dot. I think Scruffy's great. And yes, I know I've heard horror stories of different art teachers in uh, grade school. I've heard like all levels where they've told the kids, that looks terrible or whatever. And I think that's terrible to say that to somebody that's learning. Everybody has their own style. So you can't expect people to only do one style. That's what I didn't like, is that these art teachers tend to be uh, they've learned in a certain style, so that is what is acceptable in society. And there was no way of experimenting because they wanted you to do it one way and only one way. But I don't know if that's changed, but that's the way it was when I went to school. That was many years ago. That was over 45 years ago. So could be a whole lot different now. Um, Tori, I think you're an art teacher, are you not? What do you guys do? I like people to experiment and find their way, find their style, because um, that's how you find new things, that, way new styles, new um, things to be created. It can put a kid off for life, even trying with arty stuff. I had a great art teacher who just did nothing but inspire. Oh, awesome. I taught art for the blind years ago. Now I am at home in my studio. Okay. Yeah. It's amazing what, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say anymore. It's, it's a, there's a lot of teachers that shouldn't have taught, as far as I'm concerned. It's really hindered a lot of artists that when you're um, a kid and you have this you got a new box of crayons or whatever, and you can't wait to just scribble something, um, and just have fun. And and then you get these teachers. Why are you scribbling outside the lines? Like, oh, it just drove me crazy. Just have fun. All right. Just fixing up the edge here so it's a little more crisp. And then I'm pretty well done. Maybe just, yep, I'm going to put just a little bit of white with a Posca. Or maybe, let's see, do these work? I don't want, no, that's not going to work. White pencil, maybe. Let's see what I got. Just want a little bit of there's a little bit of a highlight on his eyelid. Just like that. And maybe a tad on there. And I'm going to make a little white area. Remember we painted a little bit of light gray over that. So now right in the center here, we can just put a couple marks of white. And a lot of times that's all you need. And maybe a little mark on his toenails here because they would be a little bit on the shiny side. Let's see. I might take a cream or let's see, a white. Oh, there's one. Just gonna here and there put a little bit of not bad. Oh, that's what I forgot to do is some scribbles on my, I think I need a heavier pen though. Let's do the Sharpie. Just the Sharpie there crossed. And that should be good. A little darker under the bottom here where it would be dark. And here. Now you could do more. This is kind of a brown. You could do more black in there, just along the bottom part. Would be a little bit darker. Sometimes that looks good. I think that's good. All right. So there's our little, I think he's cute, our little owl. So I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you'll give it a try. You can change yours up to whatever markings you want. You could do them pink. Make them yours. So I hope you'll give this a try. And if you're a member, you can download the traceable. It's for you and it's up on the Patreon or in the members community page if you want the traceable. And if you're interested in that, you can find all the information in the description down below. It didn't put me off. I just thought I'll show her. I can see you saying that, Dot. Thanks, Joan. Loving what Kathy does. Why not? Thanks, Tori. Thanks. Thanks, Janet. My socks are nice and cozy. Okay, so today is the 18th, 23. All right, so I'll let you guys go, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you on Thursday. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing, but if you got some suggestions, feel free to leave it down below in the description or in the comments. Um, okay, thanks for coming, guys. So happy you were here. Keep me company, and we'll see you Thursday. Bye for now.